Available now. Link below.
In a stunning turn of events, the Department of Justice has announced that they will not be releasing the audio recordings of Joe Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur, claiming it would violate the president's privacy. But what are they really hiding? The American people deserve to know the truth about Biden's mishandling of classified documents and the lies that he's allegedly told during this crucial interview. So now we go into the explosive report that exposes the corruption and the cover-up at the highest levels of our government. And before we continue, let me ask you a question. Are you concerned about the stability of your financial future? With the current state of the economy and the uncertainty in the stock market, it's crucial to have a reliable safe haven for your wealth. That is where the Bishop Gold Group comes in. Just like how the DOJ is shielding Biden from scrutiny, you can shield your retirement savings from market volatility and economic turmoil by investing in gold. Bishop Gold Group can help you convert your stocks and retirement funds into tangible, secure gold assets. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Bishop Gold Group at 877-343-9893 to protect your financial future today. You can also find the link in the description. Now, the Department of Justice refusal to release the audio recordings of Joe Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur is a clear example of the two-tier justice system that plagues our nation. While everyday Americans are subjected to the full force of the law, the powerful elite, like Biden, are afforded special treatment and shielded from scrutiny. This blatant cover-up has sparked outrage among the American people who are demanding transparency and accountability from their government. The DOJ's decision to invoke Exemption 6 and 7C under the Freedom of Information Act to prevent the release of these audio recordings is a thinly veiled attempt to protect Biden from the consequences of his own actions. They claim that releasing the tapes would constitute an unwarranted invasion of Biden's personal privacy, but what about the public's right to know about the truth of their president's conduct? Now, previously, the DOJ has refused to release the audio recordings to Congress, despite subpoenas from the House Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee. Now, take a look at this news report on the DOJ's refusal to cooperate with Congress.
Joining me now for more is NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian. Ken, thanks for being here. Of course, it's like that laundry list of cases are there, but we'll start with Jack Smith's brief to the Supreme Court, which is due today. Are we expecting anything new out of it?
That's hard to know, Yamiche. We certainly expect him to make the same argument he made when he originally asked the Supreme Court to hear this case on a fast track back in February. Remember, Smith said then that, quote, the president's alleged criminal scheme to overturn an election and thwart the peaceful transfer of power to his successor should be the last place to recognize a novel form of absolute immunity from federal criminal law. I'll be watching, actually, for whether the special counsel addresses a possible concern for some conservative justices on the high court, which is the sweeping nature of the D.C. Appeals Court ruling saying that presidents enjoy no immunity whatsoever for official acts they take while in office. Some scholars believe the court may decide that there are, in fact, things a president does that should not be second-guessed by a prosecutor. Then, of course, Jack Smith would argue that Mr. Trump's alleged schemes to overturn the election were not presidential acts, but the Supreme Court could, in theory, instruct the trial judge to rule on that question, which could then be appealed, which would be another recipe for delay. Yamiche.
You talk about the appeals process. How long does the Trump team have to file their reply before we get to oral arguments at the end of the month?
It's due on April 15th, which is both tax day and the day that the state of New York's criminal trial against Mr. Trump begins.
Wow. We also have some news around the special counsel report into President Biden. The DOJ is saying that it will not release the audio of his interview with Robert Hur. So what more do we know about that decision?
Yeah, the DOJ in a letter to the committee today said that the committee hadn't demonstrated a need for the audio recording of the interview, given that the transcript has already been made public. The DOJ said it was concerned that, quote, the committee's interests may not be in receiving information in service of legitimate oversight or investigatory functions, but to serve political purposes that should have no role in the treatment of law enforcement files. I should point out, though, Yamiche, that news organizations, including NBC News, are seeking access to that audio because we believe it's a public record and we think the Justice Department doesn't have a right to withhold it. We believe that audio could add context to the transcript and to the question of whether Special Counsel Robert Hur accurately characterized President Biden's memory lapses and mental capacity during that interview. Yamiche?
Well, Ken, thanks so much for juggling all these legal cases for us, as always.
You bet.
Thanks for watching.
Now, this is not the first time the Biden administration has been caught in a scandal involving classified documents. In fact, it was revealed that he had improperly stored classified materials at multiple locations, including the Penn Biden Center, his Delaware garage, his Virginia home, and even his lawyer's Boston office. These documents were not protected by presidential immunity, unlike those held by former President Trump, making Biden's actions a serious felony offense. Despite the evidence against him, Special Counsel Robert Hur declined to charge Biden, instead describing him as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. This characterization is a slap in the face to the American people who expect their leaders to be held accountable for their actions regardless of their age or alleged intentions. And the fact that Hur found evidence that Biden had willfully retained classified information, knowing he was not allowed to do so, only adds to the outrage surrounding the case. If any ordinary citizen had committed such a crime, they would undoubtedly face severe consequences, including prison time. Yet, Biden walks free, protected by a system that values power and influence over justice and equality. The DOJ's refusal to release the audio recordings of Biden's interview with Hur is a betrayal of the public trust and a clear indication of the corruption that permeates our government. The American people have a right to know the full extent of Biden's misdeeds and the lies he allegedly told during this crucial interview. By sealing away these tapes, the DOJ is not only protecting Biden, but also undermining the very foundation of our justice system. It is time for the American people to demand accountability and transparency from their government. We cannot allow this two-tiered system of justice to continue, where the powerful are protected and the ordinary citizen is left to suffer the consequences. The DOJ must release the audio recordings of Biden's interview with Hur, and the president must be held accountable for his actions, just like any other American would be. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. The DOJ's refusal to release Biden's audio recordings is a reminder of the unequal justice system that plagues our nation. It is a system that protects the powerful and punishes the weak, a system that values loyalty over integrity. As Americans, we must demand transparency and accountability from our leaders, regardless of their political affiliations. Only then can we hope to restore trust in our government and ensure that justice is served equally for all.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.